Bonjour, Willkommen and howdy, and welcome to this FARG Motorpool vignette, we'll call it. It's a very short video and it's really us going around each one of the vehicles and starting them up. We do this about 2 to 3 times a year just to make sure that the fluids are being pumped around. We can check the condition of the batteries, we can make sure we've got enough fuel in them, and it's really just keeping them ticking over ready for the use, which is mainly in the summer on the show circuit. So in this video today we are going to get the ERC90 out. That's the one behind me. That needs to be refueled, so we're going to refuel that from jerry cans, and we'll show you how we do that. Also over here we've got the Panhard AML90, so we want to get that out and check that that's ticking over and running really nicely. And then if the weather stays with us and we've got good light, then we're going to get the AMX13 and we're going to crank that over, move that around a little bit and just check everything's good with that. We will be doing all of the Jeeps as well, but that's probably like watching paint dry for you because we're just pulling buttons and things are going to start. But I'll put that on the video anyway, so you've got some content to have a look at. So let's crack on. To refuel the ERC, we need to open up the fuel tank. The fuel tank filler cap is here just below the turret where it meets the hull. There's an armoured cap that goes over the top, and then which is made out of steel, and then inside you've got a brass one. So obviously the brass one's to make sure it doesn't sort of rust into situ and you can't undo it when you need. You'll need one of these. These are really important. These are the cruciform tools. These are used in nearly all of the Panhard vehicles. You'll see on the end you've got a hexagonal key here and one on this end. Now these undo all of the flaps on the vehicle. They do the bungs that go in the bottom of the hull, and also they give you access to the engine bay, so we don't want to lose one of these. One design flaw slightly with this, if we come in, this is the actual filler cap here, but if you try to use the cruciform you can't, because it's striking the turret. So this sort of suggests to me that this hole was made when they were having the smaller turret before they went to the larger one. So doesn't matter, I'm just going to use one of these. So we've got hexagonal in there. We just undo the top, and anyone that's familiar with the Panhard AML series will recognise this immediately, as it's the same. So that's the still filler cap that goes on the top, and then inside, I don't know if you can see up in there, just about. Okay, so then this is the brass inner filler. So this is the one that has the rubber seal on it. There we go. Interestingly, this doesn't seem to be attached as with a chain, so I can imagine that you could drop that and lose that very easily, so we don't want to do that. I think that you can actually see there's a rebate around the head, and maybe a piece of wire went on there to hold it in place. That might just be missing. So that's out of the way, and now we have the tube, and this goes all the way down inside to the belly of the vehicle, and there it has the same fuel tank as you'd get on an aircraft. So it's rather like a large waterbed, to be honest, big black sack. And that fills up, and it's got 2 layers in there. The inside layer, which is actually holding the fuel, then the outside layer, and between it is a set of crystals. And those crystals there, if the bag ever gets punctured, automatically expand and soak up all of the petrol. So therefore it's a bit safer if you were to drive over a landmine. Seeing the things on the internet at the moment of people driving over landmines, I don't think this would last 2 seconds, but I guess if there were smaller things that have punctured the bottom of the fuel tank, then it can actually, it makes an effort to seal itself so you're not swashing around in petrol inside. What we're going to do now is, because we're not at a fuel station, we're going to use Baz's colonic irrigation set, and we're going to be putting petrol into here and then pumping it out that end. So here we have the apprentices of the hour. We're feeding the pipe down into the filler neck. Now you're going to have to hold that up a little bit higher, because you're going to end up with a lot of fuel stuck down in the kink. That's it. So quite comfortable to feed that down in. There we go. Right, you sure it's going to must go up another step? All right, that will do just to get it going. Don't put yourself in a precarious position.
God. Did I get any on it?
Yeah.
Certainly with the steel outer cap, you really do need to make sure it's seated properly before you start doing it up. It should glide around, smooth as silk, and then when you're happy with it, then it's only just a small tweak up at the end with the necessary tool. We've now put in about 40 litres of fuel. That's not even going to touch the sides really, but that's certainly just enough for us to be able to move it backwards. We need to rotate the turret because it's the only way you can get to the engine, because there's a cover on the engine that comes up and hits the turret unless it's at 90 degrees. So I'm going to go in now and start it. Let's go and have a look. Okay, getting in is always fun. The best way I've found, a bit difficult when I'm holding a camera as well, is both feet first. Whoops. Both feet in on the driving seat, and in I go. Right, so now we're inside. Not much headroom when you're back here, so we have to bring the seat forward. Can't get in if the seat's too forward. Right, okay, there we go. So I'm in now. Goodness, let's move that camera away. So here we're on the driving position. So let's take you in and have a look. Spin round. Here we are. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to check that this is in neutral. So this is a manual version. The later versions were automatic. This one being early, it's manual. The handbrake down here, that's up. Good position. Checking all the dials, nothing untoward. So I'm going to tell everybody I'll be starting the vehicle. Okay, so everyone knows if anyone's loitering around by the exhaust pipes, they're going to get a lungful. So on, and we've got electrics. Over here we have our warning lights. Red is a problem, green means it's fine. We're in 6x6 at the moment, but that will change when I rev it up, and it will actually pick those middle wheels up because they've dropped down due to lack of oil pressure. This is showing that the battery's looking good, and it's saying the handbrake's on, which we know, just looked at that, and also the fire extinguisher's disconnected, which is what we have done, being probably a halon system. We're going to use carbon dioxide at a later date, so we've disconnected that. We don't want to gas ourselves. Various little messages here, nothing to really worry about. Lights have come up. Interestingly, the temperature is already up, which can't be the case because we haven't run it, and it's showing nothing. So I think when we go across to contact, there we go. You can hear the extraction fans coming on now. Temperature's dropped. Fuel's actually risen a very tiny amount, so it shows that it's registering, which is pretty good. Everything else looking good. Now what we do need to do is look right round here behind the driver, and you'll see that there is a choke. When we pull that choke out, just about to see the choke symbol on it. So that means I've got choke at the back, so I've not started this in a while. I go back around, I know it's in neutral. I've depressed the clutch just to be on the safe side, and I'm going to start the starter and give it a small rev if it doesn't catch, and then we'll put that choke back in halfway. So here we go. Not a great start, and again. Okay, we're running. It's a bit lumpy, so we're going to push that choke halfway back in, take it up on the accelerator. There we go, I'm going to rev it up. There we go, the engine's cool. Now you can actually hear the pumps have now kicked in, and you'll hear a clunk at the moment there. Did you see the 6x6 light went out? There we go, that means the middle wheels are now raised, and we're in a running position. Fantastic, the fuel's actually come up even some more, so it is registering what we're putting in there, so got no problems there. Temperature's bound to stay low until we've run it for a bit. So I'm just going to keep my foot on the accelerator for a little bit. Push that choke back in because it's not that cold today, and we'll see how that. There we go. Everything looking good. Colin's out here trying on his new jacket, so I'm just going to wake him up a bit with a siren. So that's woken Colin up. And now we're just going to reverse it backwards and rotate the turret. So you keep an eye on mine so I don't hit the lorry behind. So the gear changes are here. You can see that reverse is at the back. So we'll go over, completely over to the rear. We're now in reverse. The handbrakes to go off. I'm holding on with the foot pedal, the foot brake, and now I'm looking in the mirrors, left. I'm looking in the mirrors right. I can see Colin. I'll give him a thumbs up. And now we're going to reverse. So here we go backwards. There's Colin. Colin's giving me the... Colin's at the back, not at the front helping this time, because we've got a car behind us in a diagonal position. The barrel has cleared the tank shed, so that's good. Back into neutral, nice wobble there. Back on with the handbrake, double check, and letting out with the clutch, and there we are. So what we need to do now is rotate the turret. So George is going to jump down inside. He's going to use the hand cranks. So here we are. So that's the up and down, and then over to this side, that gets snapped in, and then you rotate that, and that rotates the turret. So we're just going to check all around us. We're not going to hit anything. All looking pretty good. And we'll just rotate the turret. Off you go. So gun's going round, keep going. So we've got to get this at 90 degrees to get maximum access to the ERC we have here, which is the radiator with the hot air being passed out at the moment. We have a storage bin in here, and this is where the inflation system sits, so we can unreel that and inflate the tyres. And here's the actual access deck. We need the cruciform tool. Now we've undone the 4 bolts, we need to lift up the engine access deck. This is the first setting it can go to. We can't really get it any higher because the basket's in the way. I remember this one, it's stiff.
It's still rolling.
All right, so this is the AML, the Panhard AML. This one's a 90, so it's a 90mm gun, as you can see above. And you can see one of our earlier videos that give you a rough walking around or walk around of this particular vehicle. So what we're going to do now is Chloe's going to come round and film as we get this started. We are inside what is an extremely cramped position. Here we have steering wheel, pretty straightforward. We have our instrument panel. This is the most important because this is what actually gets the vehicle up and running, so we'll go through that in a second. We've got down here is our gear stick. Our clutch is this on the top. That goes downwards. So I'm just going to put the electric on. You'll hear this as I press this the knob on the gear stick down. Oh, hasn't done the right one. Here we go. You hear that tiny click? That's the solenoid in the electric clutch. We've got a handbrake over the other side. You can't see because I'm in the way. We've got a hand throttle here so we can keep the revs up. And over here is the fuel control between the main tank and the reservoir, but I've disconnected the reservoir in this one, so we're not going to use it. I've got 2 pedals you can't really see down in there at the moment. So one's the accelerator and one's the brake. There is no clutch. Gone through that already. That is on top of the gear shift. The difficulty is with the gear shifts in these, which is the art of driving a Panhard, as if you can see here, This is the layout of the gears. So there's actually 6, reverse 1, 2, 3, 3 again, 4, 5, 6. Why has it got 2 3s? Because this is the low ratio box and this is the high ratio box. So we're really probably pulling away on 3rd, going into 4th, 5 and 6, and you only really use these other ones if you're off-road. Okay, so let's get the thing started. So the first thing, like any car really, is we're going to check that it's in neutral. I'm checking the handbrake's on, can't see me doing that, what's happening on the other side. And we're going to turn the power on. Okay, so firstly we connect the batteries. You see a light has now come up on the dash, and then we put contact, so that's our ignition systems. You see you've got a red light come up in the centre of the dash, and those electrically controlled dials are now all twitched, which shows me we're in a good space. I've actually on this one installed, which you can't see, electric fuel pump, so we're going to switch that on. You can probably pick that up. So that's in the background, you can hear that, that's priming the engine. So again, always checking it's in neutral. I'm keeping my foot on the brake on this, just in case, so it doesn't move forward. And we're going to go over and press the start button. It simply is this button here. So we press that in and hopefully it should catch. Okay, I'm pumping the accelerator. Because there's no choke on this, every time I hit the accelerator I'm putting a small amount of fuel into the carburettor. So 10 good pumps usually do it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 10 squirts. Going to hit the starter again. I've just picked that up on the accelerator straight away. The revs aren't showing, they'll come up in a minute, but we're doing about 20,000, 2,000, not 20,000, 2,000 revs. Great, I can smell the engine's burning nicely. There's no choke on this. So what I will do is I'm just going to add up on the hand throttle a little bit so it takes the strain off my leg. Great, it's running. So let's pop out, have a look in the engine bay and check everything's okay. I'm just going to check the exhaust pipes. So this is telltale what's happening inside. I'm looking for any sort of smoke coming out of it. At the moment, I put my hand underneath. It's on quite a cold day today, so a little sniff, smells fine. That's just normal moisture inside the exhaust system getting heated up and pumped out. So I've just checked in there. Is the carburettor leaking? No, it's not. Have we got any leaks? No, we haven't. Anything on the floor? Okay, good to go. So we'll let that run for about a minute or so, get it up to temperature, recharge the batteries, then we'll wind the accelerator down, we'll let it go for another couple more minutes, we'll wait till it cools, check the dipstick, drive it back in. This vehicle is good to go. We are schoolboy error. We've left the camera running on the time-lapse settings, so I was only just explaining this is our AMX105. I'm going to go around to the front now and show you how to get into the driving position, and we'll resume the audio in a second. Here we have the dash, so we have cold start button. So this is slightly different than we see in the AMX13 because we've become slightly more digitalised, shall we say. We've got flashing red lights, more for amusement than actually telling me anything. Now we've done that, the 24 volt button is pressed. That's just to give us electrics to the dash basically, and we have a start. On the floor we have an accelerator and then there's a brake. We don't really use those, the brake is really just for parking. If we're going to be braking we'll be using these inside tillers. The outside ones are more for very minute driving. You certainly won't want to activate these when you're moving along because you could actually turn the vehicle over. So we're going to use the diff brakes, which are the ones in the middle. We're going to try the horn. Oh yeah, we're there. Okay, and now we're going to hit the start button. We can see that we're in neutral, which is great. Foot on the accelerator, let's turn her over. Right, now that's pulled straight away. So, yeah, that's good. Right, on there, let's see if we've got any smoke. I've got a bit of smoke, rev it. You don't want to go too mad really. 500 RPM. running if you want to jump out. Need to do. So we're going to do some very basic visual maintenance, and that's to make sure things aren't falling off of it or become loose over the last time we used it. The main thing on a tank is if the tracks aren't connected to the drive sprocket, you're not going anywhere. So a snapped track or the loss of the track is going to be catastrophic. So what we're going to do is we're going to have two people, one on either side, and they can start at the back. It doesn't need to be at the front, but each one of these links that are held within the track have what is known as a collet. Looks rather like my wedding ring, okay? My ring. And it fits into these elements in the side of each part of the track, and that holds the pin in place. If this pops out, the pin becomes loose and the track can separate. So what we need to do is check all of them. Now from my memory, 84 to 85, each 85 sets of these. So we need someone to look at the front here, and then they're going to look across to see the collet in the back side of that track. So I have one person here, one on the other, and we'll reverse and drive forward and check that those are still in place. What keeps the track onto the road wheels? In this particular case, we have a singular road wheel with two sets of teeth, one on the outside and one on the inside, and that stops the track from disappearing off of the tank. If you come down and have a look. What we also need to check as well is that none of these have actually snapped, because it is possible for them to break off. So we're looking in at each one of these teeth to make sure we've got one on the outside and one on the inside, and they alternate between. Another thing to do as well whilst we're all here is we're looking for these nuts. They're not nuts, they're backs of bolts. And those go through and they hold the track pad in place. So we'll get the third person to check that we've got pads on all of our tracks all the way around. But if we're missing one of these bolts, they need to be shouted out as well, so we can get a fresh bolt in there. So everyone happy? Let's go for it. Okay, clear.
Next, very important. Okay, driver.
Yeah.
So you'll see down in here that there's a bit of really nice fresh red rust around these nuts and around the hub. What this indicates is a little bit of movement. That's what causes the rust and causes it to look so fresh. So on this one we'll just check the wheel nuts, make sure it's all nice and tight, because we don't want one of those falling off.
So there we are. we've checked the tracks, we've checked the collets, we've checked the teeth that keep the tracks in line on the tank. We found 5 wheel nuts that were slightly loose, so we've torqued those back up. So we're good enough now just to leave this for another few months, and then in the new year we'll get it started up again. So when we get better weather, we'll be able to get this out in the field, and we'll do some filming and show you what it's capable of. It's a really good, fast machine, and thoroughly enjoyable to drive, and someone say, rag it around. So we'll look forward to doing that in a later video. So thank you. We've just got a couple more things we'll show you. We're just turning over some P4s to get them going, to make sure they're all okay, and then up the pub for a drink. This is an exciting moment for the FARG Motorpool, because we are now opening up our latest storage facility. We're going to call this the Jeep Shed. So we have a tank shed, we have a workshop, we have a storage area, and now we have the Jeep Shed. Rather like the Batcave, but nothing like it. Now in here we have 2 P4s, both diesel. You've seen these before, they've been in the previous video. Well, it's not previous because I haven't released it yet because I'm still editing it, but we shot it previously. Very dark in here, so hopefully the camera will...
It's alright.
Yeah, it is? Okay. So we have George. So Georgie, you know what to do on this one. So we're going to put on the cut-off switch, which is over on the floor. Check that the vehicle is in neutral. Ah, well done. Okay, and then we put on the ignition. Check that we get lights on the dash over here. So the ignition's this one here. Down. Oh, got a fan. You can turn that off. Go over. Keep going. That's it. I'll turn the fan off. We're going to pull out this button here just halfway for now, and then we just wait and we check inside what's called the pepper pot, and that should glow after about 10 to 15 seconds. You can keep your clutch down and then pull that fully out, and it should start. Go and check the exhaust on this one. See what sort of smoke we're getting out of it. That's not bad at all, really. We didn't really get much smoke at all. There's nothing coming out of it now. It smells like it's pretty well built up. So we're just going to ask George to rev it a bit. George, can you just rev it, please? That's fine, thank you. Okay, so we had a bit of possibly unburned diesel coming out there, but we really just started it. So that's nothing abnormal, and it's burning pretty quick. Okay, so a couple of you may wonder, how can this be driven on a highway? Well, number one, we're using a private road. Okay, but if we were, I have to make sure that I'm wearing some sort of eye protection because I don't have a windscreen. Also, we're not driving in the dark, but we have attached a headlamp, thank you for that. And you will see at the back, we have a red light. So that's our running light. We've made sure the brake lights work and the indicators do, so we're actually good to go. The only thing is to put a seatbelt on.
Just you then, Baz.
Just me. It's alright, Will doesn't need a seatbelt. If it works. Yeah, I think I'm in. Okay, so let's go for it. Stay in the Jeep, Will. Stay in the Jeep. Even the ducks are laughing at you.
There's no wing. There's water. I'm getting the brake.
Oh, 1, 2, 3. You weren't ready at all.
I'm off my perch. I'm in the thing.
Filming comes first.
What do you mean filming comes first? I'm in
How's the hawk?
I told that.
Oh, God. Oh my god, it's upside down even. What are you doing? You're filming.
I'm upside down!
It's not filming.
That's because I've just stopped it to get my ass out the hole!
Did you get wet, Will?
Yeah.
Do you want to have that little tantrum on camera? No, come on. So what happened?
No.
You got some dirt on your new jeans.
Yes. Look,
oh, Will.
I fell in the hole. This is my seat.
Will, look at you. It's so sad to see such a grown man reduced to this.
It bloody is. Just so that you all know, this is why I'm getting wet. Oh, well, now I'm stranded.
-1. My face is frozen.
Your luxury. If you like living your life in luxury, then this is the vehicle for you. It has none of the mod cons, and in fact, none of the prehistoric ones either. The seats aren't a thing.
Would you like to put the stereo on?
That involves one of us singing, so no. And here's Colin.
Stuff. God. Where are you going?
Idiot. Oh, we're off again.
As the saying goes,
Where of us?
was it all work and there we go. As the saying goes, all work and no play makes Jack a very dull boy. So, cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.